Animated buttons can enhance your user experience. How? And why does it even matter? Let's talk about it. Most websites and e-commerce apps abruptly log out their users without warning or feedback. For some, it could be that they were logged out because there was no interaction indicating that an action was done, which means it was an accidental logout. We have good examples of how animated logout buttons could be of a great user experience.
Now, here are some examples of software and applications that have good user experience when it comes to this logout animated buttons. So here is the home screen of Notion, and right here on the left tab, you click on it, you notice that there's a subtle animation here showing that you're currently hovering above the logout screen. Now, when you click on this, Notion asks you if you want to log out of your account. And then when you hover above this, you see, oh yes, you really want to log out of your account. And when you log out of your account, it directs you to the login page or the home page where you can be able to log back in. Another great example is Discord. Now on Discord, in the settings area, when you scroll down, you get this logout animation. And if you notice, when I hover above it, there's a little animation. So when we click on it, Discord asks you, are you sure you want to log out? And then when you hover above this, there's this little animation as well showing that you're currently doing something. So if you log out from here, it also automatically takes you to the welcome back screen where you get to put in your phone number or email address and the password. Right here in Figma, I have created component sets for the buttons we'll be using for this animation. I've also created cards to use on the animation. It's going to be in a dark screen mode. However, if you take a good look here, you notice that there are three of these logout buttons that I created. Now, each of them do not have the same color code as obviously stated here. And this is to ensure that whenever we're hovering above this particular button, there will be a little interaction indicating that it was hovered above. And whenever we click on this button, there'll be an interaction to show that we've actually clicked on this button. I'm going to show you how that is possible using the prototype settings here in the prototype tab. So I'm going to click on this and I'll rename it from frame 2 to default, and then this I'll rename to hovered or hover, and the last one I'll rename it to clicked. This is to ensure that we'll not be having any issues when it comes to linking the prototype. So I'll change this from the design tab to the prototype tab to be able to link these three buttons together. We drag this and the animation should not be on click. It will changing the trigger to while hovering, change to hover, and the animation will be smart animate. For the smart animate, the curve will be ease out at 200 milliseconds, not 300 milliseconds. And the second one would link it to the third one, and we'll change this from on click, or rather we'll leave it as clicked and change to this. And now the curve here will no longer be ease out, but ease in and out, ease in and out, and change the duration from 200 milliseconds to 300 milliseconds. And there we have it. Now, how do we make sure that this will be done on our UI screens? First of all, we realize that this is a component, so it's reusable. And here I'm going to just drag one of these cards, change this to design. I'm going to drag this card and bring it over here and make sure that it's properly aligned to the center. I'm going to go over to the assets panel here and pick out component 1. Okay, so that's the button. So I'm just going to drag this and drop this here. I can copy this and using Ctrl Shift R, I can paste to replace. I'm just going to quickly tweak the size of the button to fit the size of the card because it is currently having a weight that is higher than the card. So instead of manually doing that, because we're using auto layout, I could just set it to fill the container, and voila, the container is set to fill. Now let's test this animation to see if it actually works. Okay, so let's hover and see if the animation will change. When we hover, there's a slight change in interaction indicating that I'm currently hovering above this. And let's click to see if the animation would work. So this is hover and this is clicked. And we notice that there's a change in the color of the button indicating that there's an interaction. Now this is a good user experience. There's interaction to show that you actually are doing something. However, let's improve this user experience further. For that on Discord, when you click on the logout button, you are asked a confirmation message. Are you sure you want to log out? The same goes for Notion. Notion asks you if you're sure you want to log out of your account for confirmation's sake. So I'm currently going to get the card that I designed previously. Now this card contains the question, are you sure you want to log out, so that the user knows that they are actually doing something. And I've also created these two buttons as well. Now, how do we ensure that this works? We're going to currently link this button. Let me just grab this closer. We're going to link the last button, which is the clicked button. We're going to link it to this confirm screen here. And we'll switch over to the prototype and link that. So just link it this way. And now we're going to change the interaction. The trigger will be on click, the action will be navigate, but this time around it's not going to be smart animate, it's going to be dissolve with 300 milliseconds. So if I hover above this, notice that this is what the interaction would look like. Now let us test this prototype to see if it actually works. When we hover, we notice that there's a slight change in color, and when we click, we notice that there's even a better change in color. And then when we click on the logout screen, this screen pops up to ask us if we're sure we want to log out. To see this in a bigger screen or what it will look like on a larger screen, let's see. When we hover above the logout button, there's an indication that we're actually doing something. And when we click on it, there's also an indication because there's a color change. And then when we click on the logout button, we are asked to confirm that we want to actually log out. So I hope we enjoyed today's video, and do not forget to subscribe, do not forget to like this video, and do not forget to share it with your friends. And I'll see you in the next one.